Okay, so I know this is usually not the type of videos I make, but today I just wanted to talk about controls. And as you guys may know, controls can have a huge impact on your performance in PvP. And I just wanted to share my controls, the ones which I use, and I wanted to explain what each control does, because there are some stuff which quite a few people don't actually know about, and if you can enable some of these things, it can give you the edge in PvP, and it can be advantageous. Okay, so let's head over to settings. Okay, here we are, and first up we have game, and we have tap to hide the map. So this thing, I have it enabled, but it doesn't really matter if you have it enabled, because if you tap twice on the left, it puts the map away, so you don't have to click your hotbar. You can just tap twice on this thing on the upper left, but it doesn't really matter, because even without it, I don't think it makes a big difference. So that's the first thing, which it's kind of irrelevant, but yeah, it's there. So it doesn't really affect your performance in PvP, I'd say. But the next one is global chat, and personally I have it disabled, because it's best to have it disabled, I think, because when you read people in game chat on PvP servers, it's usually toxic, and personally I think it's best to have it disabled and just ignore whatever they're saying, because if you read, you're gonna end up responding, and it's just a waste of time, and you can be doing so much other things, like so many more productive things, instead of typing back to someone who's toxic or whatever. So yeah, disabling global chat, I personally do it, but it's up to you guys if you wanna. But I recommend it. It's the game is less toxic, and it feels more peaceful. So yeah. Okay, now camera shake. Whenever I play this game, I have it disabled. Yeah, because look, like let's say you're farming or whatever. Look at that, screen shakes. It's bloody annoying. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. You can see the screen shaking whenever this Paraceritherium is moving, and it doesn't feel right. Like I really recommend disabling that, because look, let's say you're in PvP, like ground PvP, and you're fighting some guy, and this thing is here just shaking your bloody screen. So yeah, I just recommend you disable shake screen, camera shake. Let's move on to video. We'll come over to controls in a bit, but let's move on to video, because this thing is big, because this can actually determine what you're able to do and what you're not able to do, and what you're able to handle. So as you can see, I have low graphics, and my device can handle epic, but after a while it's gonna get framey and laggy, and most devices, people with low-end devices, they can't handle epic or even medium, because the previous device I was using, I had to go low, and I had to go lowest resolution, so I used to play like this. But if you guys wanna have the best performance, I recommend low graphics, because if you're soaking or whatever, like you're loading in a big base, it's not gonna be laggy. But if you're gonna have like epic graphics, and you have like 50 tames, a massive base, usually the bases you'd see on official PvP, those type of bases, you're gonna need an iPad to smoothly load in the base with epic graphics. So what I suggest is just go with low graphics and resolution, depending on how good or bad your device is. For me, my device can handle full resolution. My previous device couldn't, so I had to go all the way low. So if you're finding it laggy or framey, just set your resolution all the way low, and it should work fine. If your resolution is low and your graphics is low and it's still laggy, you could disable show character names, this thing, and it does help. I have tested it before. It does help. It may not seem like it much right now, but with this off, it helps with the frames. But you know, usually I keep it because it's really helpful, because I can see tames, I can see my tribe mates, where they're at, and etc. So that's that. Now, full play stats, I have it enabled because this shows you your food and your water and your torpor. So you can look at my bottom, just the bottom over here, and you can see my stats. And now I have oxygen, torpor, food, and water. So you should have this enabled. It's basic stuff. Preserve battery mode, I don't think it helps with... I know some people say it helps with the frames and stuff, but I think it doesn't help. The more battery it takes, it's helping you... it's using more battery to perform well, I think. So I don't really have it enabled. So yeah, that's video. You need to know your limitations, and you know, it's what actually limits you, and it has a massive impact on your performance in PvP. Because on my previous device I couldn't soak, it would be super laggy, and even if I could soak, it wouldn't be like smooth, and it would be really hard to control, and sometimes lag spikes would get me killed, etc. So yeah, video, it's really important, and you should adjust according to what your device can handle. Alright, now let's move on to controls. So first up we have hotbar layout. I know there is flow, but on screen is just way better. It's easier to access. You don't have to slide your thingy around, and you can choose whatever you want quickly. So yeah, have it on screen. And for my left multi-tap, this is really important, because this, I didn't know this for a while when I first started off, and when I found out, it was just way like, it improved my PvP skills a lot. So what zoom does is, it's right there. So this is normal. This is what you get when you're normally playing the game. But when you have your zoom all the way out, it gives you more view. So before, I used to RG PvP, like flyer PvP like this, but after I found out, look at that, it's way more better. You have way more view. You can cover a lot, and it's just way easy to pick because you know where your enemy is. So I have my left multi-tap as zoom. And if you're wondering how to multi-tap, just take 2 fingers and tap both of them on the screen at the same time, on the left or right, depending on which side your control is. Now, right multi-tap. Okay, so for me, I have right multi-tap as my pick. So I don't swipe up to pick, I use my 2 fingers to pick. But there's also another function. It's called Alt Attack 2, and this is used for PTs usually, because they can do the barrel roll, which I'll show you in a bit. And I think there are some other creatures with Alt Attack 2. So yeah, this is what Alt Attack do. Usually I don't use the PT, so I I don't really use the barrel function that much. I just have my pick. So yeah, that's that. But your left and right multi-tap, it just depends on your preference, depending on what you know you prefer. Whichever is easier for you, you should customize it to your own liking. Okay, now I have my on-screen button as large, the bigger the better, so that you know my big fingers don't misclick, which still happens sometimes, but the bigger the better. Look sensitivity. Okay, now this is something which is also, it also depends on your preference. So for sniping, low sensitivity is easier, but when you're combo PvP or close range PvP in general, high sensitivity is better, because you can just run around. You don't have to swipe much to turn around. So here's my finger on one end of the screen to another. I think I did more than 360 there. So yeah, high sensitivity is generally good, but when sniping, your aim will be wobbly. But if you can learn to control your aim with high sensitivity, it's gonna be really good. So yeah, and also with picking, high sensitivity is really good with picking, but low sensitivity is good for sniping. So yeah, it really depends on your preference once again. Now, next we have inverted look. I don't really use it. If you guys use it, you can tap to mount. I have that. There we go. It's really simple. I don't have to click that saddle up top. I'll just go and right. I think I'll just go up to the RG and I'll click once and I get on it. And then we have auto run. I have it disabled because if you're in a dungeon, you're trying to do the lava jump or whatever, you don't want to run by accident, so I have it disabled. Long press dismount, I have that disabled as well, because sometimes I have my fingers on the screen just waiting for an enemy to come by or whatever, and it will just randomly kick me off the RG. So yeah, last flow button, this thing, wait, hold on, I can't really show it. Okay, there, here it is. So I have this, and I also have this, but most of the time I'm using the bottom one to swipe up and down. And finally we have the left shoot button. It's what I use. It's this thing over here, my right shoot button. That's my primary shoot button. Usually it's people's secondary shoot button. People will be using this right here, but I use this as my primary because the device I'm using, it's Asus ROG Phone 2, Asus. So I have a trigger over here, the red thing right there, and I use that to hit and stuff. And I also have a left trigger over here, which I use for scopes and spyglass and whatever that can, you know, scope in and stuff. So here's what me using an air trigger will look like. So you can see those two thingies up there on top of the phone, and I use my index fingers to click the triggers. Now with my air triggers, it's more comfortable to PvP with, I find. I'm gonna show you me switching between these as fast as I can. Okay, that was, yeah, I find that comfortable using my air triggers. If I were to do it without my air triggers, let's see how fast I can do it. I don't think I can do it that fast. Okay. Okay. And last one. Okay. Yeah, it's not as fast because I'm out of practice using the buttons, like the actual buttons, because I have my air triggers. And I can adjust my air triggers here, so I can choose where I want it to go. So that's the controls. That's really it. And we have audio, but audio is just, you know, you can have it high, you can have it low, it doesn't really matter. For me, I have it low because, you know, I got the video editing and all that stuff. So yeah, that's really it for controls. This is what I use, my my preference for PvP. So this is my PvP controls. I suggest you guys experiment and just try all sorts of different combinations and see whatever works best for you. And once you have your own unique controls, you'll find that your playstyle will improve. So yeah, that's really it. Now I know if you're an experienced player on this game, you would know all about the controls, but I just wanted to do this video for the beginners and newcomers to the game. So that's really it. I'll see you guys on the next one, and thank you guys for watching.